All right, shalom to the elect. This is Samak with another lesson, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, and double honors to our elders and apostles who taught us the truth. And peace and blessings to the brothers doing this work in truth and in sincerity. To you, I say shalom. All right, so this lesson I'm going into talking about how is your faith in these times we're coming into. How's your faith in these upcoming times? Our faith needs to be stronger more than ever, because we're coming into some evil times where we're starting to see prophecies coming to pass. We're starting to see the war start to amp up between the pivotal nations that we need war to entice in order for the prophecy of World War III to come to pass. And we're seeing the war between Israel and Iran starting to ramp up. And then the different conflicts between that, Russia and China backing Iran, and basically saying if America or Europe, steps in, they're going to step in. And it's just fulfilling prophecy. All right. And what that means is we're just one step closer to probably the most fearful, dangerous, no, not even probably, definitely the most fearful, dangerous, and faith-testing time pursuant to Daniel 12:1, which is the time of Jacob's trouble. And also Jeremiah, I want to say 30:7. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's Jeremiah 30:7. All right, and I'll look it up in a minute. But that's pretty much what time we're coming into, and we have to be focused and make sure that our faith is right, because the scriptures say that that Jacob's trouble is going to be like a time never seen before on the earth. It's clearly Jacob's trouble. All right, so this time period that we're going to come into is literally going to be for the chastisement and judgment of Israel, because the scriptures say that judgment shall begin at my house. And because we know that judgment is going to begin at the house of the Lord. Who is the house of the Lord? It's Israel. Because we were the ones that he knew as sons, and he chastises as sons. Hence the reason why we're going through the calamity and the destruction that we're going through now, and that we've gone through, and that we're continuing to go into. But we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, because you're starting to see the prophecy of the Great Awakening happening on the four corners of the earth. We see Israel waking up in these different countries, these small countries, these little pockets of countries. All right, and we have to now, we have to be faithful and true, because the only way you're going to get a spot on that chariot, one, obviously, is because you are, oh no, this is not where I gotta go. Salaki. You are, so I missed my turn, it kind of threw me off. The only way you're gonna get a spot on a chariot is, one, of course, by being the elect, right? But what does the elect have to do to make it to the chariot? All right, the elect has to endure until the end, right? And to endure until the end, you have to overcome obstacles and challenges. You have to put on righteousness. All right, you have to forsake the old man, and ultimately you have to be rooted in faith. You have to be rooted in faith, because it's faith is the substance and the source that's going to keep you pushing forward and forward and forward. Because without faith, you're literally going to wither away and fall back into the world. Why? Because there is no light in you, right? If you have not faith, all right, there is no light in you. And when you don't have that light in you, you're filled with darkness. And when you're filled with darkness, you'll be persuaded and enticed by all manners of wickedness and evil. So having your faith rooted and grounded in Yahweh Shai is very, very imperative that you do this and you work on that faith. Now, ultimately, faith is a gift. We know that, right? right? Pursuing the Hebrews, the 11:1, I believe that scripture states that faith is a gift, all right? And it's not something that you can necessarily work for. It's just something that you were given. But you can exercise the faith that you have, and you can pray for more faith. It's just as simple as that. All right, you can pray for more faith and exercise on the faith that you have in hopes that you increase in faith. Usually, your increase in faith is going to come by experiences. So being open to going through challenges and experiences is a clear way to obtaining more faith. Because when you get put in situations to where you feel like, oh shit, how am I going to get out of this? And you know, by the grace of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, you make it out. That is essentially what's going to help boost your faith and give you like, oh shit, okay, the Most High is dealing with me. Okay, damn. And if you're not focused, you're not going to see the little wins that you get in your daily life. You're not going to see the little things that happen. There's a lot of things that happen around you that you're not going to see, right? Just from the smallest things to you walking down the street, an angel pushes a car or or something, move things out the way so that you can just walk across the street and avoid an accident, even though you never knew that there was even an accident in the making, or it was even a possibility that the accident was going to happen. But the angels were working on your behalf. So those things you don't see. But there is also small things that we do that happen in our life that we notice, but we may not necessarily attribute to grace and salvation. Because if you're not in the spirit, you're not going to think spiritually. That's why the scriptures say to constantly be in the spirit, constantly meditate on the word and the law, and to think on Yahweh Shai, and right, to be engulfed, talking to brothers. Because when you're in a spiritual state of mind consistently throughout the day, when things happen around you and you notice these things, you're able to directly identify that it is a blessing from the Lord. It is salvation. It is mercy. And those little things build up. It's small things, but they build up. It's like quarters, right? Quarters build up. You get one quarter, it's only 25 cents. You get, you get a handful of quarters, you got $1 and some change, maybe $2. You continue to keep throwing quarters into a bucket every single day, multiple times out of the day. You look back at that bucket in a month, 2 months, 3 months, you got, $50, $100. And that leads me to my next point. Another part of faith building, or building on your faith, is by stacking up spiritual money. All right, building your spiritual bank account. When Jacob's trouble comes, we are going to have to tap into our spiritual reserve, our spiritual savings account, and utilize the funds from that account in order to get mercy and salvation during Jacob's trouble. Because Yahweh Shai said that we are going to be judged for every word and action, or just to be very simple, the deeds done in the body. We're going to be judged for it in the day of judgment. But leading up to judgment, specifically in Jacob's trouble, is when you're really going to start to see the Most High working. Like right now, the Most High is working, but people kind of attribute things such as life and people are crazy. But no, during Jacob's trouble, we're going to really start to see the inner workings of the Most High, where regular people who don't get this truth are going to start thinking like, yo, there's a higher power at work for the shit that's going on in the world, for the amount of judgment that's being pushed out. There has to be a higher power at work here. And in those days, even us brothers that are putting on this truth, we're going to have to rely on the Most High to deliver us out of shit. We're going to get put in situations that we're not going to even physically or mentally see ourselves escaping. but by the grace and miracle of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, I will escape. And that's kind of us, if you think about it, that's us tapping into our spiritual account. All right, every time some shit happens, the Most High is directly ACHing money out of your account, or debiting money out your account. He's debiting money out your account every time some shit goes down and you get delivered. He debits out your account, whatever was the required funds for that deliverance. You know, and I'm putting layman's terms on this. Obviously, this is not the concept, but I'm putting this in layman's terms so that most brothers and sisters understand the concept of money coming in and out. And when you're charged for a service, or when somebody provides you a service, you're charged for it. The Most High is providing a service. It's deliverance. It's grace. It's mercy. And every time those things happen, the Most High is debiting from your account, meaning He's taking money out your account. He's taking money out your account. Now, when that account runs out, because you didn't build up enough savings, spiritual savings, you weren't really building up your savings account. You threw a little bit here and there, but you weren't consistent and fervent at building it up. Because what? You really didn't have faith. You didn't really think that the Most High was going to come back. You didn't really think Jacob's trouble was going to happen. Or maybe you just didn't really think it was going to happen in your lifetime, as the Christians say. So you kind of thought, maybe we got another 30, 40, 50 years. That might be all right. But you didn't know it was around the corner. Within the next year, the next 2 years, the next 5 years. So you was lollygagging, playing around. Whereas brothers like myself and the men around me, Lord willing, I be of the elect, but I'm putting into my spiritual savings account. I'm throwing consistently, throwing money in there. Meaning, I'm making sacrifices for the Lord. I'm putting off the weak nature of the flesh. Every time I get a win, this is things I liken to myself. Anytime I get hit with any type of temptation and I overcome it, to me, that's a sacrifice. That's a win. So that's me earning income spiritually, and then me taking that income and putting it into my spiritual savings account, my spiritual retirement fund, your spiritual 401k, your spiritual social security, your spiritual pension. Because you need to rely on this money when you retire and you can't work no more. You're not going to be able to go out here and teach the word. Every time I go out on the highways and the hedges, all right, that is a form of me working and earning spiritual money. And then I take that money and I put it into my spiritual account. So this is how we ought to look, or we should. This is a recommendation that brothers should start and sisters should start looking at sacrifices and building your faith like building a bank account. Because you do it in the world, right? You do it with your own financial money. If you're a disciplined and organized person, you're financially smart, responsible. You get paid. You take a chunk, a bulk of your money. You pay your bills. You take a portion and you pay yourself money for whatever you want to spend it, and you take money and you allocate it towards savings or a rainy day fund. Usually, they go hand in hand. We take that same concept and apply it, but to faith and building up our spirit, so that when Jacob's trouble comes, we can tap into that, right? And look at wisdom and knowledge, being engulfed in the scriptures, learning things. Isaiah 33:6 says that the wisdom and knowledge of it is the ability of thy times, right? So the more wisdom and knowledge you get, the easier it is going to be for you to sustain in Jacob's trouble, because you're going to know how to move, right? The Most High is going to be justified in delivering you because you've put the work in. You've mastered, essentially you've mastered righteousness, if you will. All right. There's a very profound quote from the notorious Iron Mike Tyson, right? For those of you who may not know him, Mike Tyson is one of the greatest boxers of all time. One of the most dangerous, feared, and ferocious men, as he likes to say, and not only in the ring but outside the ring, right? And contrary, outside of all the other controversies and shit with him, he's a very intelligent man. And he said a quote one time, and he said, in order to be the champ, he said, you must first be the champion before you become the champion. and that's lifestyle. So in order for you to physically become the champion, you have to first be the champion mentally, and that it usually shows through your lifestyle. So that now you take that concept and apply it to the truth. In order to be of the elect, in order to physically become the elect, you have to do what? As the scriptures say, put on as the elect, mentally and spiritually, and that shows through your lifestyle. And then what happens is it becomes manifested. Another thing Mike Tyson also said, he said you have to be delusional. It's only delusion until it becomes a reality. So you have to live that delusion. You have to tell you, and it's not really delusion, but it's faith. You have to tell yourself and believe that you are of the elect. Because if you don't believe that you're elect, why are you doing this work? If you don't have faith that the Most High is going to deliver you, why are you doing this work? It's very simple. All right, we have to put on as the elect. We have to believe that we are of the elect, and it's going to show in our actions. All right, so build up that faith. I didn't want to make this lesson too long. I feel like the point was made. Lord willing, you brothers, you sisters were edified by this exhortation. Till next time, shalom.